Now that Boris Johnson is personally under police investigation, his relationship with the truth is starting to look desperate. Before he was saying he couldn't tell us the whole truth because of the Sue Gray investigation. Now he's saying he can't tell us the whole truth because of the police investigation.
There is simply no way, as he knows, as a lawyer, that I can comment on the investigation that he is currently taking place.
And when told how angry voters were about the government's lockdown parties, Boris Johnson said,
what I can tell his constituents is that irrespective of what they want to focus on, and I understand why they do, Mr. Speaker, this government is going to get on.
I thought you were all about the people's priorities. Now this next bit isn't addressed to Keir Starmer, it's barely for people at home. This next bit is pretty much just to the Tory party begging them not to fire him.
For all sorts of reasons, many people may want me out of the way, but I tell you the reason he wants me out of the way is because he knows that this government can be trusted to deliver. He delivered on Brexit, Mr. Speaker. He voted 48 times to take this country back into the European Union.
That was basically a love letter to Tory party members, something along the lines of, hey, we've had some good times, right? We won that election together by painting Labour as Remainers. We can do it again, and you'd never leave me, because I'm the only one our voters trust with Brexit. So you could try, but you'd lose the kids. And after bragging about how he's responsible for Brexit, he then goes on about all the damage that his Brexit is doing to Northern Ireland.
I never thought when we negotiated that this would be with 200 businesses have stopped supplying Northern Ireland. Foods are being blocked, Mr. Speaker. Christmas cards are being surcharged.
And the solution suggested by the DUP?
By removing the Irish Sea border and restoring Northern Ireland's place fully within the UK internal market.
And I completely support what he's saying.
Only Boris Johnson already knows the problem with that.
You have to have some way of checking. The only place you can do it, if you don't do it at the border, is at the border in Northern Ireland.
Which would mean a hard border with Ireland, which you can't do because of the Good Friday Agreement, and now my head is spinning because in 2018, he said this to the DUP.
With regulatory checks and even customs controls between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, on top of those extra regulatory checks down the Irish Sea that are already envisaged in the withdrawal agreement. Now, I have to tell you, no British Conservative government could or should sign up to any such arrangement.
So in 2018, he promised the DUP no Irish Sea border. In 2020, he created an Irish Sea border. And now today, he's promising them no Irish Sea border again. He is the worst boyfriend ever. But he continues to brag.
We are the party of hope and opportunity for people across this country, irrespective of race.
You've done one big thing on race since you took office, and that was produce a race report that United Nations said normalizes white supremacy.
We've been prioritizing the COVID backlog.
The COVID backlog is caused by too many COVID patients. So if you were prioritizing the COVID backlog, you wouldn't have just got rid of all restrictions 3 weeks after New Year's, because guess what? Yesterday we had the highest death toll since last February.
Crime down 10%, Mr. Speaker.
You're under police investigation.
Job vacancies at a record high.
Those job vacancies include abattoir workers who left because of Brexit, leading to at least 30,000 pigs so far being culled and thrown away whilst the rest of the country faces a food price crisis.
Tory cuts, Brexit and the soaring cost of living have pushed millions of families into poverty. The impending national insurance tax hike hangs like a guillotine while they eat cake.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know who's been eating more cake.
Your response to the suffering of millions of people made worse by your own actions, a Prime Minister who's currently under criminal investigation for throwing parties during a pandemic that claimed the lives of 160,000 people, is a fat joke.